My wife, 30 female, and I, 33 male, have been together for nearly a decade. And our relationship has always been a roller coaster. About 2 years ago, we went through a rough patch after I discovered she was emotionally invested in someone else. She swore it never crossed into physical territory. And after countless apologies, therapy, and her working to rebuild my trust, I chose to stay. For a while, things genuinely felt better. She became more present, more communicative, and we both started looking toward the future. We recently found out that we're expecting our first child, which brought a new sense of hope. I really thought we'd turned a corner. Then yesterday, I found out she's been talking to another man for over a year. I found their messages. It started off innocent, friendly, with advice and casual chats. But over time, the tone shifted. The flirting became more obvious, and now it's clear they're sexting and emotionally intimate. This woman I'd worked so hard to trust again betrayed me. When I confronted her, she admitted it. She said she knew it was wrong, that she hadn't been thinking clearly, and apologized profusely. But what does an apology even mean at this point? She broke my trust once, and I gave her a second chance. Now she shattered whatever trust I managed to rebuild. The worst part? We're 3 months into her pregnancy. I'm drained. Completely, utterly drained. I don't want to leave her right now. Not because I'm okay with this, but because the thought of uprooting my life, dealing with the logistics of separation, and facing the judgment from family and friends feels unbearable. And I also don't want my child to grow up in a broken household. That's just cruel. I've considered staying somewhere else, but that's not really an option. My family lives far away, and I'd likely end up in a small, uncomfortable space where I'd be smothered with questions and opinions I can't handle right now. Financially, I can't afford to take time off work. I need every bit of PTO I've got for paternity leave. I don't even know what I want anymore. Do I want to stay? Part of me still loves her, but how do I reconcile that with what she's done? I don't even know what she could possibly do at this point to earn back my trust. I feel so betrayed, angry, and lost. And with the baby coming so soon, I can't even think straight about what's best for my child. Update 1. After reading through all your replies and advice, I started to realize something wasn't adding up. Many of you pointed out how easily emotionally affairs can cross into physical ones, especially when there's already a pattern of deceit. So I pressed her hard. I told her I needed the whole truth, no half measures, no minimizing, or I was done. I told her I'd walk out the door right then and won't look back. She resisted at first, but eventually she broke. It turns out, in addition to the man she's been sexting for over a year, there was someone else. That one did get physical. She swore it only happened a few times and that it ended months before. But I questioned whether the baby is mine. She got defensive immediately and insisted the timelines don't line up and the baby is definitely mine. But at this point, how can I believe her? Trust is completely gone. I've since packed a bag and left the house temporarily. I'm currently staying at a friend's place while I figure out my next steps. The first thing I did was contact a lawyer. I was originally planning to paternity test the child after he was born, but my lawyer has informed me I'd be too late and there's a way to do it before the baby's here. So that's where we're heading now, after I've put down the $5,000 retainer, of course. I've also informed both of our families. That wasn't easy. Her family was shocked, but got defensive immediately, especially her mother. Mine, well, they're angry on my behalf, but trying to keep me grounded. Everyone agrees I made the right decision by leaving, though it's been heartbreaking to have these conversations while knowing my marriage is effectively over. It's overwhelming to think about the future. Divorce, co-parenting, if the child's mine. I still feel so betrayed, so blindsided, and so hurt. I'm hoping at this point the child isn't mine. Final update. I got the paternity test results back. The baby isn't mine. Any lingering hope I had of salvaging this relationship or even co-parenting went out the window. The divorce process is officially underway, and it's been a disaster. My soon-to-be ex-wife has completely unraveled since the results came back. She even tried suggesting the lab made a mistake and insisted we get another test. But I said no. If she wants another one, she's welcome to get one on her own dime. But this court-ordered test is valid and will stand in court. She's been blowing up my phone with calls and messages, alternating between blaming me for abandoning her and begging me to come back. Her whole extended family is involved too. They've said everything from, you know she's not in a good place mentally, to, she needs you more than ever right now. But I've stayed firm. I told them this was her doing, not mine, and I'm done being the person who cleans up her messes. I've learned so much about who she really is in the past few weeks. It's not just the cheating or the lying. It's the selfishness, the recklessness, and how little regard she had for me while I was trying to build a life for us. I found out she continued seeing the guy she was physical with while she was pregnant. She told me she was confused and felt trapped. But honestly, that just makes it worse. The hardest part is how much I miss her, even now. She was my best friend. I keep catching myself wanting to tell her about my day or ask her about hers. And then I remember everything she's done, and it's like getting hit all over again. I'm also angry at myself for ignoring the signs earlier. I thought we were building something better after her first emotional affair, but she was just hiding it better. She even had me believing we were stronger than ever while she was sneaking around. I poured everything I had into this relationship, and she stomped all over it. Therapy's been helping. I've learned that forgiveness doesn't mean excusing what she did, and it's okay if I never get there. Some things are unforgivable. I've also realized that love isn't enough. No matter how much I loved her or wanted a family with her, she made choices that showed she didn't value me the same way. To anyone going through this, I get it. The pain is unbearable at times, but staying in a situation like this only drags you down further. I've moved out, lawyered up, and started setting boundaries. And while it's not easy, it's the only way to find peace. If you're wondering about her and the guy she cheated with, apparently that's fallen apart too. I shouldn't care, but some part of me hopes she finally realizes what she's lost. Not because I'd ever take her back, but because she needs to sit with the consequences of her actions. Story 2. Confused and torn up. I don't even know where to start. Some backstory would definitely help. My wife and I have been married for about 2.5 years. We met while in the military, soon after she became pregnant, and are currently married, expecting our third child. Everything was great at first, and I feel like it's getting back to where it was before I found out she cheated. In February 2017, my command was going through some leadership changes, which forced me to be on mids, and we were coming up for orders, which would have separated us with my wife deploying. She became pregnant sometime while all this was going on, only we did not know the stress of the upcoming deployment, and me not being available due to my work situation caused her to have a miscarriage, which was very difficult for her. Soon after, she became pregnant again, which basically kept us at our current duty station and relieved a lot of stress for the both of us. Unfortunately, I was still working on the mid shift, which didn't allow us any time together. Since I was not around, she was left to parent by herself and maintain the household. Around mid-May 2017, she started talking to another guy, which developed into an affair. Mind you, she was pregnant at this point. For me not being around, I still managed to know there was something going on. Her phone was always on silent. She was very defensive of protecting it like it was the Holy Grail. More and more money was being spent on going out to eat, and the receipts didn't match up with her story of where she was. I knew something was wrong, but couldn't nail it down. Then July came, and I remember clear as day. I finally had some time off and was smoking ribs, and while talking to her, she had a Freudian slip and called me by another name. At first it didn't register, but then I realized that the name she called me was the same name as a guy that had recently been liking all her social media posts. I confronted her on it, and she broke down and told me she'd been talking with someone else and then hanging out with him, and then just yesterday, over a year later, I found out there's more to the story. After discovering the affair, we started marriage counseling, but the affair was never brought up. We just worked on making us better, and it worked. She confided in me and swore up and down that it was only an emotional affair, and I believed her, although in the back of my mind I know that it was more than that. There was just no proof. Later that year, the new baby was born, and soon after, I separated from the military and took a job in the middle of nowhere, and soon after, she followed with both kids. I didn't want to leave the military, but I wanted to be with my wife and kids. Thankfully, with my background, I make enough where she doesn't have to ever work again and can raise our kids. So just yesterday, I gave her a spa day. while I watched the kids, and got on my computer and an email from Google popped up in my inbox and showed everywhere she'd been based on GPS from her phone. It got the best of me, and I looked at the dates of the affair, and well, she lied and was at his place more than a few times while I was not around. It doesn't prove that they had sex, but it proves she lied to me, and well, I already assumed they had sex, but now there's even more evidence. In her defense, when I told her to end it, she did, and to my knowledge, she hasn't seen anyone else since the affair came to light. I love her, and I want to be with her, but it hurts so damn bad. Do I let this new information die with me? Bring up the newfound information? And if so, how? I also, with this new bit of information, have the ability to have the other guy dishonorably discharged from the military. Shall I be the bigger person? Since all of us were active duty when I found out, I could have then, but I didn't want to make my wife look bad, and once I outed her to the command, it would have made our life very difficult. First, let me just say you're a hell of a person for trying to hold this marriage together after everything. A lot of people would have walked away already, and the fact that you've stuck it out shows how much you care about your family. That said, this new information is big. It's not just that she cheated, it's that she lied about it even during counseling when the whole point was to rebuild trust. If you bury this and try to move on without addressing it, it's gonna fester. Resentment like that doesn't just go away. You need to have a conversation with her. Calmly, but firmly. Let her know what you found and give her the chance to finally be fully honest. If she doubles down on lying or minimizing, that tells you everything you need to know. As for the other guy, I get the temptation to get him discharged. The guy's trash, no doubt about it. But what does that really do for you? Will it fix your marriage or help you heal? Probably not. At best, it's a short-term win that might just bring more drama into your life. Focus on you and your family instead. Ultimately, you need to decide if this marriage is worth fighting for. If you choose to stay, she needs to earn your trust back with transparency and accountability. No excuses. If you don't think you can get past this, that's okay too. You've done more than most would, and there's no shame in walking away to prioritize your peace. Either way, take care of yourself, man. You've been through the ringer, and you deserve better than what you've been handed. Good luck.